Good morning. So I just wanted to, as we're getting close to the end of January, give an update on all of the challenges I was planning to do this year, and then kind of let you know where I'm at. I think Sir Chong and I are going to do a combined video some point later this week with all of our thoughts about everything we've read this month. I've read a lot. I don't have a lot to say. Not really feeling it. But yeah, so we'll be back and we'll talk about the books in depth. But I did want to kind of go through what I was able to accomplish. So to start out with, January was the TBRathon, which was hosted by Leandra, the TBR0. So I did the scavenger hunt, which is a this or that. So basically there were 12 prompts, and you would pick one or the other. And so, and I'm going to just kind of go through these. So I did, for the 2+ people on the cover or animals or creatures, I reread Banicula. For fantasy or nonfiction, I read Devil in the White City. For travel far, far away or hometown vibes, I went with Everyone Here is Lying. It's not really my hometown, but it's a small town, so that made sense. And then for futuristic or historical, I went with London Seance Society. For romance or thriller, I went with Dead Silence, which technically is a thriller. It's probably more of a romance than a thriller, but technically it's a thriller. And then for friendship or family, I went with Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, because it's about a family reunion. And then for the second part, I have, for warm or cool cover, I went with Beach Read, because it's got some warm summery colors. For urban setting or country life, I went with Who to Believe. I wouldn't call it country, but it's a small town, a small beach town. So country, maybe not, but again, it's not a city for sure. Small town, everyone knows each other. For happy or melancholy, I went with Take a Bow, Noah Mitchell, which has some sad stuff, but as a whole, it's, it works out, things are good. For top shelf pick or bottom shelf pick, the goal of this was to really go through the books I currently owned, which I did to some degree, but then I also read library books and random other things that, so the goal was to kind of try to get stuff off my bookshelf, and I only managed to get a couple things, but this was on my top bookshelf to be read, and this is Lolita. And then for stormy or sunny skies, I had The Search Party, and for recently added, or TBR forever, I have Piranesi. It hasn't been on my TBR that long, maybe a year, but the thing is, every month of 2023, I was like, I'm going to read it this month, and then I just wouldn't, and so I was like, that's it, I'm reading it, so I finally read it. So I was successful at the Readathon. I actually finished the Readathon, I would say, halfway through the month. Read a lot this month. I think I've talked about some of these books in my first part where I did a review of some of these books. So, and then I'll talk about the rest briefly later on. So then for the banned book challenge 24 and 24, which is 24 banned books, I have read 2. I read Lolita and Melissa, and I did a video on each of those. So, and that's going to be my plan moving forward for each of them. And then for the 52 book club, I have read 18 of the 52 books so far. So this is just kind of my little chart. It shows which ones I've read. The ones that have covers instead of numbers, that means I've read those. And so at the end of the year, I'll go through that entire challenge. I'm just this is more of an update. I'm not going to, every month, I'm not going to read over every book, but so we're at 18 at the end of January. So that's pretty good. I'm almost halfway in the first month of the year. For the Bookish Drummers Discord Reading Challenge, also 52 book challenge, I'm at 19 there, plus the bonus book. So again, doing really well. Luckily, a lot of books I can use in both, and so that's been good. Read What You Own Challenge, I am not doing as well. This is partially because I've set very, very strict rules for myself. So the rules are, it doesn't count as a book I own if it's not a book that was on my Kindle, for a while. It couldn't have just been something I recently bought. So it has to have been on my Kindle for a while. It can't be an ARC. It can't be a library book. It has to be something I spent money on. It can't even be Kindle Unlimited. It has to be a book that, I mean, even though I pay for Kindle Unlimited, it has to be a book that I personally bought. Although now I'm starting to think maybe I should include Kindle Unlimited because I kind of forget I pay for it. But it had to be a book I bought. And then the same thing with books I own. It couldn't be a reread. So I can't like reread a book and count it as a book I own. So because I already know I have that and I already bought that book because I like that book. So the idea being that I need to read 100 books. I was going to say before I buy anything, I have bought a couple Kindle books, so not so great there, but I'm not going to buy any physical books. There's no room for books in my house. No more books are coming into this house until I've read 100 books. So I'm not going to the library and getting physical books. I'm not buying physical books. The only exception being like, things that I've pre-ordered or like certain collections that we're building, just because that's just a natural thing that we've been building. So, but that's not even about reading. So, all right. So the next one is the personal 24 for 24, the ones I wanted to read. So I'm at 7 so far. 2 of them I read at the end of last year. I ended up getting a head start. And then I read 4 this month. And the one I have taken off my list, just because I found out that the author is not such a great person. So, so that's 7 out of 24, so pretty good there. And then on my swap with Sir Chong, he got like a head start in December, and so I was like, oh, well, I'll do that at the end of the year. And then my plan was to read 1 or 2 books a month, because some of them are long. So they may take more than a month. So my plan was to kind of try to get the early, easy ones, the short ones, maybe try to do 2 a month, and then plan for 1 a month for the longer ones. And then that way that would give me a cushion to read into next month if needed. I have read 4 on his list so far that he's given me, and he has read 10 of mine. And we will talk about that. And so, this hasn't been the most fun experience, I'll be honest. So, we'll discuss it when we talk about books. So that's where we're at. And then just a quick update. You may have noticed, those of you who frequently comment, we're holding all the comments for right now. So you please feel free to keep commenting. It's just, there's like certain things in particular for some reason, like there's a lot of, people are weird, but there's a lot of kind of rude comments that are put, in particular on like, Sir Chong's Stephen King video. But the thing is, I do the videos, like the comments, and so I am not in a good place, and I cannot like deal with just constant name calling and like complaining because somebody who has read 70 books doesn't give every single one of those 70 books a 5-star. I mean, I think, you can pretty much say the guy's been reading Stephen King since he was like 8 and has read all but like 4 or 5 of his books. Obviously he likes him, but that being said, within that liking, it's, some of them aren't as good for him as others, and he doesn't like certain ones, and then I just get like, well, you're a loser, you don't like this one, and I just can't take it. So between that and then just going into some of the banned books and some of those topics, like people just are, I don't know, out of control, and I'm just not handling things well. So I'm just holding the comments, and so that way what I can do is not see them until I know that I can like go to them and handle them. So if you are leaving comments, don't feel like you're being ignored. I will definitely check them. Just bear with me because I go through these these slumps, and when I get into these moods, it takes a bit. So just bear with me. All right. So that's where we're at. And like I said, probably back in a few days. Sir Tonk wanted to do all of the books he'd read this month. And I'll probably just, kind of touch upon the stuff I've read. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail. Just kind of worn out. But, yeah. So, the good news is, at least, if nothing else, challenges are making progress. So, yay. All right. So, we'll be back. Bye.